I love you guys.
Dance off, bro. I have the high ground.
Expecto Patronum!
39 days, 20 people, 1 survivor.
Tribe of Nerds.
This is definitely a pirate adventure. Pirates pillage. Pirates steal. Pirates take advantage.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. JJ, Will, and I are here for Survivor for Noobs, which is getting two first-time watchers into Survivor. And so I decided to pick Survivor Pearl Islands, which is a season with the pirate theme and just like one of the most iconic seasons of Survivor, even though it's like 21 years old at this point, which is insane that this came out in 2003. Yeah, very excited to get into this with you guys and talk about this season. So let's get into our impressions of the first episode. So what did you guys think of just the first episode for starters?
Go ahead, JJ.
Jake, you heard a lot of my thoughts when we were watching it. I really liked the twist, and I don't even know if it's what season number is this? 7, you said?
7, yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's late enough for it to still technically be a twist, but it's early enough that it doesn't feel like a twist yet.
Right.
But them showing before they actually start the game. I think that it might have been appropriate for them to say something along the lines of, like, you should at least wear clothes that aren't going to fall off. But seeing them go through the village really was a great way for us to get an idea of people's personalities right off the bat.
Yes.
Seeing them interact with people who weren't in the game was a great way for me to make some judgments about people, whether or not I'm going to like them.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get into that more. Will, what were your thoughts on this first episode?
I kind of like what JJ was saying. I was like, man, because you figured they probably knew that they were going to be on this game, like in some shape or form. And I was like, every one of these guys, or at least most of them, were not dressed for the occasion. I thought it was hilarious, but it was wild to me because, again, I've never seen any other episode of Survivor, so I don't know how the beginning always goes. But they were just like, all right, here's your shoes. Now give me the rest of your stuff. And I text the big group chat. I'm like, man, they just got robbed, because I was like, I thought it was, I don't know why, but it was just funny to me. They're just sitting down and he's like, all right, give me all your shit. And then he's like, all right, here you go, time to start. And them just throwing the shoes into the water, and everyone's just like, I guess that's the cue. And they just start jumping in. I was just like, man, that's some dedication. And I felt bad. And for one moment, because there were some guys in the suits, and I was like, oh damn, that's fucked. That's
He made it a point so many times to say it was an Armani suit. I'm like, I don't feel bad for you. You can just buy it.
Like by the third time, I was like, yeah, we get it, man. You got money. Good for you. But no, I thought it was kind of cool. It was funny. Like, it definitely had me hooked, like, to start off with, and I thought it was kind of interesting to see him like going on a shopping adventure the first time. But then my favorite character showed himself right away, because he's just like, hey, it's pirates.
Yeah,
I'm gonna steal from them, and he just steals their shoes. And I was just like, I just sat there. I'm just like, this is the best idea ever. And he just started trading it. I don't even think he was trying to go really hard on the trade. He's like, hey, give me that pineapple. Here's a pair of shoes. And it just, sure. I'm like, this is genius.
Yeah, it's really good. I do feel bad. Like, yeah, like you guys said, the guys in the suits, and then you have a couple of the women wearing their dresses, and it's like,
oh yeah. Like, then you got the one, I think, Julian. Not Julian. It's, I forgot how you pronounce it. The scout leader. I can't.
Lillian.
Lillian. I don't know why I said Julian. King Julian. But Yeah, Jillian, the whole time's in the scout. When I first saw her, I was like, man, I'm not trying to be mean, but I do not like this person. I don't know why. It felt like she was trying to overflex it because it's like, oh, we're on Survivor. I'm the scout leader. And I was like, hopefully it's just the beginning and maybe they get like, some actual like decent clothes to wear, And I was like, nah, she still got the at least the 2 episodes. I'm like, nah, she still has that fucking troop blouse. I was like, I hate it. I really hate it. I hate this bit.
Yeah, Lil is interesting. I mean, just like I don't know why you would wear a scout troop uniform to like even if they thought it was publicity photos, that's really your choice to wear to
Hey,
publicity.
she wants to show off a troop thing for a publicity photo. Her choice, but I was just like, man. Oof.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should touch on some of these other characters. I mean, I know JJ, you did not like Osten right off the
I still don't like him. He has big frat boy energy, and like in a bad way. I know we
because
were
we're all
in
in fraternity
together, but listen, there's a difference between our fraternity and the image that people think of when they've never experienced Greek life and they look at frat boys, right? He's a frat boy, fuck boy, is what he is, and I hate that.
Jeez. I mean, what his first line to the women was like, show your boobs to these people around the village.
Yep. Yep. I mean, that would be effective.
It would have been better than the one chick who was yelling at everybody. I mean,
right.
Could have been something.
This is not something that I appreciate about, I think, just this era of television in general, but also Survivor. Just the focus on sexualization of the contestants is not something I need. It's not enjoyable for me at all.
Very fair. Yeah. Well, you have thoughts.
What? I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't even think about it in that aspect until you brought it up because then I was thinking about like, some of the camera shots now, they kind of make a little bit more sense now that JJ brings it up. But at the same time, the whole time, the only thing I was thinking of with some of those things, I was just like, man, I wonder how cold that water is. Damn, that's some clear water. Like honestly, I was just thinking more about just where they were at. I was like, damn, the weather looks kind of shit there right now because it was like all overcast and muggy, and I was just like, this is weird.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it.
Well, let's touch on some of the other characters as well on the way here. Let's talk about Rupert. And Rupert immediately stands out as this enormous character. Like they obviously cast him for this pirate theme and just like him immediately stealing the shoes from the other tribe. Like beautiful, beautiful casting.
I think my favorite thing about Rupert is that he just doesn't give a shit about being anyone other than him. Like he's just gonna be himself this whole game, even though he's playing Survivor, but he's just like the most unbothered Survivor contestant I've ever seen. And then this second episode where he's just like, the lagoon, it's just like a giant bathtub. Great.
Oh my god. That dude is my favorite character. I hope he wins. He is my prediction. I know we're getting ahead of schedule there, but this is my boy. This dude is the embodiment of everything I would want to be. He's just beautiful beard. Doesn't care. He's just vibing. And I love that he is pretty chill until like something specifically affects him. And then he'll go on this rant and then it's fixed. And he's like, all right, cool. We done now. And I'm like, I get it. Me too, buddy. Same way. But the moment he started off stealing the shoes, and he's like, his reason in the interview is just like, because we're pirates. And I'm like, this man is so into character. But at the same time, I feel like this is just him looking for an excuse to steal some shoes. Because as Jason says, he's just true to himself. So I really feel like this man has had intrusive thoughts of, I'm going to steal all their shit. What are they going to do?
Do you think on the way to the islands, he's just like, when we get there, I need to steal some shoes.
I don't think he was thinking that. I think he was more focused. I think because when he was talking about it in his interview, like that interview, he's more worried about the fact that he was swimming in jeans.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
so I think that was more the priority.
I was appreciative of the fact that like him and 2 other people got together and they were just like, okay, let's split up our clothes to make this situation better for all of us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the man built a fucking skirt, and he was
Yeah.
like, I'm never putting on the pants. And I was like, you know what? If I was on an island too, yeah, I'd rock a skirt too.
I mean, there's a reason that people wear skirts.
Yeah.
Hey, he was more mobile. Did you see him in the water? That man was like, he was so mobile. He was hunting them fish, man. He couldn't do that in jeans.
True. And then like any other characters that stood out to you guys? I mean, like Sandra's obviously like going around speaking Spanish and like huge asset for her tribe in the village. There's some other characters. You have Jonny Fairplay, who's saying he doesn't want to play fair, but he wants to give off the impression that he's gonna play fair. So
Sandra was my pick, and I told Jake this episode 1. She's my winner pick, not just because I know she's won Survivor a few times. Like, I don't know if this is a season that she won or not. But in the first episode, it wasn't that she had Spanish speaking skills, because that's not enough for you to be a winner pick. It's that she used that and she just took control of the situation. They got into that town and she was ready to go. And like her tribe came back with so many things. Right. They are starting off in such a good position because of the work that she put in. And then you go to episode 2 and she just gave no shits. I'm going to take their tarp. You know, I'm just going to just take their shelter apart to get the thing that I need, because that's what I'm here to do. I'm a pirate, motherfucker.
Oh my God. That moment in that episode, and then she's like, all right, well, I'm here for a war jug. I was like, okay, fair. And then she's like, oh, I'm gonna take the tarp. And then they're like, all right, you can get it done yourself. And then they got mad that she was destroying it. Part of me was like, man, you could have just did it for her, just make it painless, but y'all chose to let her do it. Of course, yeah, she's gonna like be reckless a little bit. She tried. I don't know how genuine it was, but she's like, I'm gonna lay this down nice. And honestly, though, part of me also understood where the other team was coming from, because if I had somebody who was already stealing from me and then constantly giving commentary of, I'm trying to make this as painless as possible, I would have been like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Just take the tarp. I don't want to hear a goddamn word from you. Just grab the damn thing. Or you know what? I'll fold it up for you. Stop wrecking my shit. Go. Be gone. But no, it was when they cut to her in the village and she was speaking Spanish. I was like, this girl flexing. But like she made it work. She was negotiating. She gave up a gold chain. It was like, give me all that chicken and tinfoil and then condiments. I was like, priorities. I respect it. You gotta.
She's like, I'm gonna take everything.
She took the grill too, honestly. I don't know what you would have done with the grill, but take the grill.
Sandra's great in this episode. I mean, again, this cast really stands out. I mean, there's probably a couple duds that we don't like. I mean, are a couple duds that we don't like, but like for the most part, this cast is really good. So, and then like just the fact from the beginning, you know, the Drake tribe, the Blue tribe is like more together, and the Orange Morgan tribe just is a mess. Like, I just like in general, I mean, do we have any other thoughts on like the Morgan tribe? Because I feel like we've been talking up the Drake tribe for good reason at this point. But
well, the Morgan tribe is just they are the embodiment of dysfunction. But I got this feeling for good TV that they're gonna somehow go on like this comeback streak, and it's gonna be just so fucking weird. I know we'll get into it when we talk about episode 2, but they made a decision that I'm just like, this makes no sense. Like, I don't understand entirely why you would do this, but hey, to each their own.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll get into that decisions that they do make. But JJ, any thoughts that you had on the dichotomy between the tribes?
it's hard to know how much of this is the way that the editing of the show is done to make for good TV. Like Will said, like it is a TV show, and so they do want to make it good television. But I mean, there very clearly is a mentality difference. It's hard to when you're on a losing streak. It's really difficult to come back from a losing streak, but they are imploding a little bit. There's a lot that's not going right on that tribe, and these are problems that they could fix for themselves.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, like they at least they do have a leader in Andrew Savage, but like I don't know, clearly he's also not doing something correct at the moment because they're still
He might not be, but I think he is at least still like a good
He's the best they got.
kind of like a good
he is the best
grounding
for
point.
sure.
Yeah.
He's the best they got, honestly. I think the only real thing where I don't know if it's like this in other Survivor seasons, but I honestly am not a fan that they're on separate islands. I was hoping, especially with it being a pirate theme. And yes, they had the one steal the first time, and maybe it changes up later on. I don't know. But as of right now, I don't know how I feel about them being on separate islands. Put them on the same island, just opposite ends, and have more interaction, because I would love just the chaos of just the tribes trolling with each other. If they are on the same island, like, you make it a hike. Obviously, put them on opposite sides of the island, or don't tell them you're on the same island and just have them figure it out at some point by accident,
Right.
which would be hilarious. But I don't know. To me, I'm like, it seems too. I don't know. There's too much peace as pieces there can be in a game of Survivor where you're struggling in the elements.
True. So then we get to our immunity challenge with the cannons, and we have Morgan getting naked because Osten literally sold all his clothes in the village, so he's literally just in his underwear that keeps falling down. So they get naked, and Drake still wins the challenge, although Morgan almost like pulls a come from behind, and then Drake comes back and wins it anyway. But thoughts on this immunity challenge and the events that happened?
Good, JJ.
The naked thing was weird. I don't got anything there. I think that they made a bigger deal than they needed to about the one guy. I don't remember his name. They always call him
Ryan.
Skinny something.
Yeah, Skinny
Ryan.
I think they make a bigger deal in this challenge about Ryan's performance than they need to.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't there, so I can't say what it seemed like, but like from watching it as a viewer, it didn't seem like he did all that poorly to me. I'm like, if someone truly is giving their all and they just aren't as capable as you are, like, why is that such a big deal? Yeah. Granted, that changes in the second episode. I will say that. But like just in this episode, I just feel like it was more than it needed to be.
Yeah, I mean, like, what, Tribal Council Andrew's literally calling Skinny Ryan out at Tribal. Like,
dude, yeah, that was insane. It's like how you are. God, if there were idols in this season,
yeah,
it's just like you just painted the giantest target on your back. But
right. Yeah, I mean, like, I just think if you're going to be the leader and you're going to step up that much and be that aggressive, that's not the greatest thing to do.
Yeah, that's not a good way to approach members of your tribe. Even if you are against them, like you might need them later.
True.
Go ahead, Will. Looks like you got something to say.
I thought the challenge kind of started off to where it's better off to be in second place. Because at first I thought it was on their own separate track kind of deal, but I didn't realize that they like were all on one obstacle course.
Yeah.
But then like I was watching, I'm like, I would rather be second place because literally whoever's in front of you is clearing all the obstacles and you're just following suit as long as you can keep up with the pace. And I was thinking Morgan was going to win because literally when it got to the beach, the moment like they like had an opening to where there was room to pass it, Morgan was able to pass up on them because then also like on the beach, it's like, all right, just follow the same path they're doing. You're smoothing out the sand and it's going to get to the point where they get stuck. Just use your momentum then to pass up. And they did. They eventually just got stuck at the end, and it ended the way it did. But like the whole time I'm like, yeah, why would I ever want to be in first place and go through more energy clearing the path when I could just sit behind you, have you do all the work, and the only thing I got to do is just push and pull this thing.
Yeah.
Valid.
And I'm just like, so the whole time I was just like, I'm like, because they were like talking, because Jeff was doing his commentary as he always does. He's like,
Yeah.
Morgan, pick it up, and I'm just like, no, Morgan's fine. They're in the best spot you could be. You're letting them do all the work. All you're doing is just the casual like pushing and pulling. They're having to move rocks, move logs, pushing the bamboo or whatever the hell those wooden structures were.
Yeah.
It's it's like NASCAR. Like you ride in the slipstream behind the car until you're ready to pass, and then at the end just soar by them. What are they going to do?
Honestly, like whether or not they intended to be there or not, they were in the best position, and when they started to take up, they almost won. They unfortunately got stuck like right at the end, and then Drake was able to come back from it.
Mhm.
I mean, it was just one of those things. It was like unfortunate. So I was just like, even like that's why when they went off like Ryan's poor effort, it's like, dude, you got stuck at the end. The whole time you guys were in the prime position to win. But I get it. Being competitive, everything gets blown up. You know, you're always looking for the smallest things that what could change something. That's just how it is when you get competitive. But like, I don't know. I thought this challenge was kind of weird.
Mhm.
Like, it was cool. Don't get me wrong. It was nice seeing him like put. It was like cool of strength. And the whole time, like when he was explaining the challenge, the first thing I thought of was, man, I would just send somebody forward, clear the path, and have like your strongest guys pull it, but send somebody like ahead. Like whoever's holding the torch or banner, it's like I would send them further ahead and be like, yo, go just clear the path. So by the time we get there, we're just gonna be ready to go. Like I think the most difficult obstacle was them just breaking the cannon down and then moving it through that. But I'm glad at least because at first they started off taking off the cannon and having two people carry it and then rolling.
Yeah.
I immediately was like, that is the dumbest thing in the world. You're wasting more energy. Just take it apart when you need to and just keep the whole thing together till then.
Mhm.
But it was a cool little challenge, but I was just like, I don't know. I felt it was like so much in favor for just being second place. And that kind of bugged me in a little bit way too.
I get that. Yeah. I agree with that. I think the funniest part of the challenge though for editing wise is when Morgan's naked and they're behind Drake and it says Morgan behind while they're naked. That's probably my favorite piece of editing because the editors definitely saw that and were like, okay, let's put the like lower third up here.
As funny as that was and weird and random, at the same time, part of me was just like, yeah, no, I'd probably do the same. If I got to the point where my clothes were in the way and I was trying to move this damn thing, yeah, fuck it. They're coming off for the time being. We're getting it done. Because you know damn well if they kept falling off, they're going to be like, hey, your clothes kept falling off. You're the reason why we lost. And I would have been like, nuh-uh, I'm naked now. Nothing fell off.
Yeah, and I mean, like everybody on Drake though afterwards is like, I wish their ding-lanes got stuck on a vine or whatever.
Right. I was like, oof. Man, they hate you.
Dude, yeah, what a terrible thing to wish on someone.
Just I know. I don't think I could. As a guy, I could never wish that upon another person.
Yeah. Yeah. So then we get Morgan loses the immunity challenge and we get Nicole, the woman in the blue dress that gets voted out for trying to play hard. And like, yeah, it's probably not a good idea to go around and start like throwing random names out to people the first round. But I don't know your guys' thoughts on this.
I just think she just got caught. You know, that's just all it was. It was unfortunate. I think one of the hardest things, at least in my opinion, and again, this is first Survivor Series. The way I was looking at is this is the moment in the game where you try to be as upfront as possible. Like you want to be the nicest you can be. She was playing like late game so early.
Yes.
And I think it just caught up to her because honestly, I don't think anybody would honestly expect somebody to just walk up to you and be like, did you say like, and just start throwing out business. Cause like, I was like sitting there, I'm like, man, they are so open with who they've been talking to. It is actually kind of wild. I'm like, cause like, they were like, oh, Nicole's not trustworthy. It's like, none of you are trustworthy. You all are admitting who you've been talking to. I'm like, the pot calling the kettle black there, but I guess, hey, to each their own. And they got Nicole out. I thought it was to me it was a random vote. For the amount of shade they were throwing at Skinny Ryan, and I was just like, Nicole just like caught a stray because she just happened to piss somebody off like one night up to the tribe vote.
Yeah.
And they're just like, fuck her.
Yeah, I mean that is a wild thing that they're just like throwing so much at Skinny Ryan only to vote Nicole out. Like,
Right. And it's like, it's kind of her own fault too. Like Will was saying, this is the wrong time to be making moves like that.
right.
Also, why, like, wasn't she kind of in an alliance with these people? And then she's just like, let me turn on someone.
Yeah, she was like aligned, I thought, with Dara and Tawana, like the other two younger women. Like, I'm just like, and then you're throwing Tawana's name out.
Like, I get if Tawana pissed you off. I
Mm-hmm.
understand that. But I just, yeah, it's just the wrong move. I like, if this is the kind of move she's going to make, it kind of makes sense for her to be first.
I'll tell you what, between this episode and the next episode with their voting process, they got their priorities so mixed up. They literally play petty vote. They play petty vote.
Mm-hmm.
They really do.
Somewhat agree.
I think it's petty vote.
Yeah.
Geez, and their logic behind how they voted in this episode is completely different than how they voted in the next episode for the reasonings behind it. Nicole was not the weak link then. Why would you get rid of her? Like, it doesn't make sense. You were in the team. Again, everyone's playing late game on the first fucking vote. Which doesn't make sense because it's like, yo, you guys need to fucking win team challenges. Like, you can't be worried about who's not trustworthy in like a fucking merge scenario or individual scenario when y'all can't even get your shit together as a team.
Right. Exactly.
None of you are loyal because you guys suck as a team.
Right, because like if they don't get their shit together, like they're all gonna get picked off, right? So like, so yeah, I think that's all for the first episode. So let's get into episode 2. So kind of impressions of the second episode.
Just some similar thoughts. Like the Morgan tribe is continuing to deteriorate.
Yes.
They are just not good at the whole social structure that they have set up.
No.
I will say from both tribes, this episode is highlighting how big a deal people are making over little things.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I get Rupert being, or not, yeah, I get him being angry about the spear breaking. That's totally fair, and he is justified in being angry. But like, it was a tool that already was kind of janky at that point, and we knew that it might break. And it's not like the other guy didn't want to go look for it. Like, he came back and he was like, come help me find it, right? The priorities that people have this season seem so weird to me.
Yeah.
It's like, why are we going to be angry at each other when all we got to do is solve problems?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, they're also starving out there. So that's like, that probably impacts some decision making as well. But like, I don't know. It's hard to say. Will, your impressions of episode 2?
Episode 2 was cool. Like, I think the big thing that I'm realizing more, because I was thinking when I hear Survivor, I think of the challenges, but I didn't realize like how much of the episode actually was more so you just, because I know like it's like 3 days at camp before a challenge kind of deal. So it's like a lot of the episode is just you just see camp interactions, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. But it's like, for me, I'm just like, part of me is just like, I feel like it almost like, it's like, yeah, challenges are cool and all, but it definitely seems like most of the game then is just how useful are you to the camp, which maybe that's like the real like tone behind the show, what it's supposed to be. But in my mind, I'm like, oh, the challenges is what everybody watches Survivor for, that's the entertaining part. But in reality, it's the just drama at camp that you're kind of invested in. But like, now to JJ's point, like, you really just see the highlight of just how when the stress is high and everything's, going crazy, the little things become big things and everybody's just on each other. Then you got fucking Osten's ass who's wanting to quit. And I'm just like, that's wild. And then It's just so weird. And I was on Rupert's side the whole time with a fish hook, and like, because I get it as somebody who's worked with like tools and shit like that. When you tell people, hey, this tool is kind of busted, but we need it, you kind of get to the point of like, I would rather have one person be responsible for it.
Right.
Because then at least then if something goes wrong, I know it was on me and I can handle that. But when somebody messes with your own stuff or your thing and they break it, it becomes so much worse because you're just like, yes, I know it was jank. That's why I was using it because I knew how to deal with it. And you fucked it up and then you just kind of just left it out there because in Rupert's mind, he's like, you shouldn't even be back in the water or out of the water. You should still be looking for that damn thing.
Yeah.
I know that was just all emotion and it was just funny to me, but he's like, you don't look. He's like, you shouldn't have stopped. And the guy's like, I've been working for a damn hour. I need some help. And I was like, I understand it. At least he can clean and not try to hide it, which sweet. But he did feel bad. Like, I don't think it was malicious. But oh my god, it was funnier than shit though. Rupert's fucking doing a grid pattern and he finds this thing. And he's like, where did you find it? In the ocean. Yeah, where? Yeah, no shit. Rupert gets it in the ocean.
And we get the Rupert roar, the iconic Rupert roar that you
Oh my god, that dude, he's got some pipes on him, dog. He just fucking yelled, and I was like, if there's any wildlife that was nearby, it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah. I mean, the Rupert fishing stuff, like Rupert is known on Survivor for being one of the best fishermen on the show, with a couple other people that are also known for that. But yeah, it's a cool, like, us getting to know this character of Rupert more. So then we have the reward challenge of the swimming to get the items and put them in the treasure chest, and Morgan fails because like Skinny Ryan sucks at he can't dive down to get stuff. So yeah, thoughts on this reward challenge?
You muted, Jake.
You're muted.
Jake.
Thanks. I was telling Jake before and the challenge. The challenges this episode in particular fit so well into the theme of the show. I love the development of this pirate theme. And like even the reward for winning the challenge was let's go steal shit from the other tribe. Yeah. That is wonderful. It makes for a good show. And like the challenges, these are challenges, the way they design them, that they could fit into really any season of Survivor, just reskinned, but they gave them the pirate flavor, which makes it so much more fun.
Yeah, agreed completely. So Will, any thoughts on this reward challenge as well?
I thought it was a cool challenge. I like the idea. Like, the moment I saw Skinny Ryan though go first, I'm like, you guys, you didn't exactly kind of stack your line up the way you probably should have. I get like in some ways you would probably want your weaker swimmer to go first because then in theory your stronger ones can then carry the weight.
Right.
But I feel like they were more suited, like, because not everybody swam, if I remember correctly. Right? No, everyone from Morgan Tribe did go in the water.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who all swam because, like, well, so obviously Drake has to sit out Sandra because they have to sit out one person.
Right, yeah, they had to sit out somebody, but it was five. Still, it was 5 pieces. So essentially, you had at the most maybe 6 because if you were interchanging people,
right? True.
Doing your items. So I think they had like some people where they can put in the back,
right?
And I think they should have done that. Especially if you go in the scenario and in the tribe was outspoken saying Ryan's physically one of the weaker ones. Why the hell did you not just shelve him as much as you could and have some of your workhorses go out first to keep you in the game? Because I also felt bad. I will not like dog anybody for struggling when it comes to swimming because that is a lot of work, and going underwater and doing all that, it takes a toll on you. I'm not going to dog anybody. Like, you physically can do what you can do. But Ryan was a liability in that sense. And the fact that you guys were just like, your plan was, we're going to make him first and set the tone with that
Mhm.
was the dumbest thing you could have done. You literally have like 2 or 3 workhorses on your team that could have done it. You had the other Ryan. Start off with him.
Yeah.
Like you could have started off with him and at least keep up a bit.
Yeah.
And then they also just they got in and Ryan got exhausted because he had to do the other skinny Ryan's like item. And then he was trying to get his. And then it became a game of they were just literally like, I find item, I bring it back. And then you take that item. And then so they just put themselves in the hole. Meanwhile, Drake is just like guns blazing. Here's the first guy. He's going. I forgot who their first person was.
I think it was Burton.
Yeah, Burton. So Burton goes out, does it with ease. Then Rupert. You had like you've seen that they were like smooth. They were going smooth. And then it got to the point where they had such a massive lead. It didn't matter who they sent out next.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it didn't matter. And like, so I thought it was just such, again, it's a challenge that's very specific because you do have to be physically strong. But at the same time, Morgan didn't do shit when it came to strategizing. They give you time to strategize. And I'm like, what was the plan going in? All right, Ryan, you're going to go first. Yes, we know we've been dogging you and you're physically the weakest one in this tribe. But go set the tone and go get us ahead. Bitch, I wish you would tell me that after you just dogged on me for that shit.
Yeah.
That's your fault.
I really don't know what their thought process was either. And I don't know if like, because like it could have been a thing where Skinny Ryan's like, for some reason, he's like, let me go first so I can prove. I don't know if he wanted to prove.
Maybe that's what the conversation was. I would love to hear I would love a little snippet of what their strategies were. Like, I would love that because I want to know what the hell their plan was. Maybe Skinny Ryan was like, I want to prove myself. If that's the case, hey, you tried to rise up, you fell short. Happens.
Yeah.
But if y'all came together as a group and was like, hey, the weakest member, let's have him go first and then get fucking pissed off and surprised that he does not physically keep up.
Mm-hmm.
That's on you. That's on you, dumbasses.
Yep. All right, so then Sandra, we've already touched on Sandra looting the Morgan camp, stealing the tarp, which again, great twist. Fits with the theme as JJ said, and like I really enjoy it. And they're so pissed off that they didn't help Sandra take their tarp and stuff. And I think it's funny, like then Osten is like, oh, I'm gonna quit if she takes our tarp. Like,
well, first of all, I do respect that Sandra like went in the conversation they had before, like they didn't want to cripple the other team.
Right.
That wasn't the goal. But she got there and she didn't see anything she could take that would be useful and not super impactful to them.
Yeah.
So then it seems like she just went back to, okay, well, what's going to be useful to us? Because I can't, they don't have anything, but I'm going to take something anyway.
Right.
And so she took the tarp, which, I mean, that makes sense. Just the cattiness, though. It's like, God, this feels like a Netflix, like Bachelor ripoff or something. Not in that it's a romance show, just the way that the reality TV is coming through.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you compare this to what Survivor is now, and it's night and day. It's a very big difference. So,
yeah.
We'll be able to tell you.
Will, any other thoughts on the looting?
I covered it. I thought the commentary throughout the whole thing was hilarious. I thought Osten was about to use that machete at one point because they got a close up of him smacking the wood. It's like, dude, you were 2 minutes ago talking about how you're gonna quit. Don't get that look as if you're gonna use this on this girl. Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, dude, I saw that. I was like, whoa, that's about to take a way dark tone.
See, all in my thought process was with the looting, because it just said you're gonna take what you can find. And you had time before they showed up. I would have hid shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're pirates. You might as well do that.
Yeah, nobody said you couldn't. I would have taken the most valuable thing. I would have been like, all right, we're going to take down the shelter temporarily.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to take this tarp and I'm going to put it away. I'm gonna take our like water jugs or whatever. I don't even think they had a water jug, to be honest. Or maybe it was by the well or something.
Yeah.
But I would have taken my most valuable shit, chucked it in the woods because she wasn't looking that hard.
Right.
So I would have been like, hide the shit. And just left out like a few like decoy stuff, just something for her to like browse.
Right.
And then called it a day, been like, oh yeah, wow, you really got us good. And then go back to the woods, pull out the tarp and pull out our valuables and be like, whew, that was close. Like, I don't know why that wasn't a plan. Y'all, like,
Well, the Morgan tribe doesn't plan. We've covered this.
clear. No, or they just playing poorly.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Then we have our immunity challenge, which is using the rope and coordinates and untying to get the coordinates. I again, I did like this challenge, and like it's cool to be like you use the ropes to like line up where you need to dig. So it was a cool little challenge.
This is the first challenge that it just felt like the teams were completely evenly matched.
Mhm.
The whole time. It seems like with their neck and neck.
Mhm.
And it was just a solid thing to watch. This was enjoyable for sure.
Right.
Oh yeah, I agree. I thought this one was definitely a better challenge than the first one because it felt like both teams had their chance to actually pull ahead,
Mhm.
and no, like you do not get there was no reward to being second or last because there's only 2 teams. Like there was no benefit to that. I wonder, like, I can't remember. Did they pick who they were gonna make the prisoners, or did people volunteer to be prisoners?
I don't know.
I don't know if they showed, honestly. It's made it seem like Jeff said that there needed to be a guy that was tied up like on the raft.
Yeah,
So
I wonder if they picked or if they just like maybe the show just had a list of names and they're just like, all right, here's the prisoners. Because if you were picking, I would have been like, the way I looked at it, I'm like, if Drake picked the Morgan's prisoners who they were taking, I'm like, why didn't you take Osten? Literally, if you would have took Osten, because they had what, Osten? No, Osten wasn't a prisoner. Who was their prisoners? They had
Andrew,
they had
and then the
Andrew?
other Ryan and Dara.
Yeah, I think Sarah. Yeah, I would have taken Ryan, Andrew, and Osten as prisoners if I had a choice. Because the hardest thing was, at least then, because then what it would do is, yes, you put a stronger people like on the boat that could probably get untied easily. But what it is, though, you don't have anybody who can pull the other raft that far.
Right.
So even then, when they get out, they're not as far. So it's a shorter swim. That's probably what I would have banked on because the whole swim thing probably would have been the biggest time killer. But like JJ said, it was close to the end. Like whatever they picked, they worked out well for them.
It would have made sense thematically too if the teams had picked the opposing team's prisoners. Like we kidnapped your people. Here's who we kidnapped.
Right. Yeah, I just think it was like Jeff said it had to be a man, as at least in the instructions, and so they're just like, okay, let's pick our strongest or one of our strongest men.
Yeah, which makes sense. You would want at least one of your strong guys out on the boat because you want to be able to get untied and then be a strong swimmer back.
Right.
Which makes sense. I think it was a good challenge in the sense of you really, there's strategy to it, but at the same time, you're not going to go wrong depending on where you throw people. True. Like you'll just have a slight advantage in one aspect than you would in the other.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So then Morgan loses yet again, their 3rd challenge in a row, and we get back and Osten wants to quit. And the Morgan tribe votes Skinny Ryan out anyway. So
I'm going to go second on this one.
Well, what's your thoughts on Skinny Ryan being voted out, even though Osten wanted to quit?
This is where shit just doesn't make fucking sense to me. Literally, you have a guy. I understand he is physically not strong. But then you have Osten, who is just a fucking bull of a man, who is very physical. Like, this dude is strong.
Yeah.
And athletic. Like, yes, how do you not want him on your team? But the thing is, though, it's so stupid on their decision because they vote Nicole off the first episode because they're like, she's not trustworthy, even though they were talking about how we need to get rid of the weak link. Who was Ryan?
Right.
Which is fair. And I guess it's you just kind of covering up again. But given what happened that day, and you have somebody who's told you, I am done. I am mentally out of it. And you talk about getting rid of weak links. Mentality is just as big as anything else. If they haven't, and they're just like, we'll overlook that. Ryan, go. Even though Ryan was far more the only one on this damn team who was trying to be a team.
Yeah.
It's just, they're reviewing it all from the brawn aspects.
Yeah.
And which it's hard not to, especially because where most of the challenges do require a lot of physicality into it, but I guess they're going to probably learn real quick, like, There's going to be some challenges that it's just nothing but brains and strategy
Mhm.
and also coordinating. And Ryan's the only one who's been putting in an effort to be a consistent team player. Like he was the only one. He wasn't quitting on the team. Osten was, but they were like, yeah, let's cater to him. Which again, I guess I see because he's like one of the stronger ones, so you don't want to lose him. But at the same time, it's like, what is your process for what a weak link is? I don't get it, but
Yeah.
cool. You voted off Ryan. I guess you finally caught up because you realized you probably should have done that the first tribal council.
Right.
And you should have kept Nicole, because if you would have kept Nicole, I think you would have done a lot better.
Mhm.
But hey, to each their own.
Yeah, well, they're not making smart decisions as we covered. JJ, your thoughts on this?
So I finished this episode, and initially I thought the same thing. I was like, why would they send Ryan home when Osten doesn't want to stay? And we've seen in our own season
Drake.
people do that. Right. And it's like the moment
We weren't even on an island. We were like,
Drake
we
just
were like 5 minutes away from a cafeteria.
the moment you check out, you should be gone.
Yeah.
Most of the time. God, this feels like a really complicated vote, but like the intricacies of it just weren't shown on TV.
Right.
I feel like you have to hedge your bets against who is going to be more beneficial to your tribe, who is more likely to see your tribe succeed. Because our tribe's success at a challenge, at an immunity challenge, is beneficial for me as a person, like as a contestant, because then I'm immune in this challenge.
Yes.
And Ryan has consistently underperformed in challenges. He's actively making challenges harder for this tribe.
Mhm.
Whereas Osten has been doing really well. Now, with Osten checking out, who knows how he's going to do in challenges? He may be like, you didn't vote me out even though I asked you to. Now I'm going to sabotage challenges so that you do vote me out. And that's possible. He might do that, but he might not. Ryan is guaranteed, if we continue to get physical challenges, to have a negative impact on our team.
Mhm.
Osten might have a negative impact. He might have a positive one. I would rather keep Osten than Ryan. That being said, I think it's kind of a dick move when someone openly says, I want to go home, please vote me out, and then you don't vote them out. Like,
Yeah.
you're keeping them there when they don't want to be there.
Right.
I just think it's tough.
Yeah. I
Get why.
Yeah, it's like I agree with both of you. Like it's tough if someone doesn't want to be there. I mean, again, you guys did it with Drake and your guys' original Tribe and Nerd Survivor season. But like I mean, if someone asks to be voted out, I'm gonna vote them out. Like I'm gonna honor their wishes.
Yeah, and if they come to regret it later on, that's on you, man. Like I'm not. But if you're not in there mentally, like one, I'm not gonna force you to be in something you don't want to be. I'll grant your wish. Careful what you wish for, but I think it's just so. It felt like such of a makeup vote in the sense of that they realized we wanted to vote Ryan off in the first place, but because we got petty with Nicole, we had to correct the mistake, and it bit him in the ass, which was dumb to me because then I was like, all right, situations change. Yeah, great. Granted, Ryan was definitely physically your weakest link. But at the same time, the biggest struggle you were having as a team is you are not a team. Why get rid of somebody who is you could easily use to keep a team energy going?
Yeah.
Granted, you know what Ryan's about in terms of where he's not physicality. That's where I was like so confused. So it's like you put yourself in a bad spot by having him go first. He should have been deep in the lineup. Have your strongest guys go off first, especially in the sense of because you probably would just rather have started off very strong and just make up the time in that sense. But like, they put themselves in a weird spot with Ryan. And then Osten, the moment he started talking about like wanting to quit, I would have been like, dog, I don't even want to stay on this island with somebody like that.
Right.
Because literally Andrew says he's like, I don't like people who are too negative. We want people who are about that life. And then he keeps the guy who's been the most negative of the whole person.
Right.
I get it because you see the investment of the physicality of it all, but it's just like you literally go against what you just said.
Right.
And I bet you I 100% think if they would have just not gotten petty with Nicole, and that's what I'm just gonna refer to it as, that was a petty vote.
Yes.
If they did not get petty with Nicole and they voted out Ryan that day, they probably would have won that challenge because you wouldn't have that weak link. You wouldn't have to correct mistakes. And then guess what? Either you win and you don't have a temper tantrum or like the little poutiness from Osten.
Yeah.
Or say you do lose, guess what? And Osten goes, and I think, guess what? You could vote Osten out then.
Yeah.
And then you still have Nicole, who was dedicated to the game.
Yeah.
Like, getting rid of Nicole that early was such a petty, stupid vote. And it bit you in the ass because guess what? You just lost 2 members that you didn't need to.
Right.
Or like you lost like a key player and you didn't need to. It took you 2 votes to get Osten or Skinny Ryan out.
Yeah.
When it could have just taken you 1 if you would have just swallowed the damn pettiness and just fucking vote him out when you wanted to.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. They, again, making bad decisions. It sucks when people are making decisions that actively destroy their whole game, but that's the fun of Survivor.
I think maybe a lot of it comes down to just the way the show's edited too. Obviously, we as viewers, we know more than they do, which makes sense. But like at the same time, just seeing it from the picture, it's just like I'm like, dude, what the fuck is what is the plan? Like it's not even just like what is the plan? It's just like you literally I think that's the big thing, and maybe that's why I kind of like struggle with Survivor, like when we play. Seems like a lot of people go into it and they're already thinking of the end game, not realizing like you have to make it through today.
Right.
And I know it's rich coming from me, the guy who didn't make it past day 1. But like you gotta like worry about today before you can worry about tomorrow in this game. You got people playing the long game without even thinking it's like, y'all, you might not even be here.
Right.
Like, what are you planning the long game for? Just work with the team. The better you do as a team, the more control you get in the game, the more resources, the more power you have. And then eventually when a merge may or may do happen, guess what? Then most of your team and your allies are taking control.
Yeah.
And then you can whittle out other outsiders. But instead, everyone wants to play these like fucking chess moves. People are trying to play chess when they can't even play checkers. And it's just fucking mind-blowing.
Yeah. I know, well, because I know JJ had the same experience in one of the seasons where he got voted out first as well. So like you both have experienced that now of getting taken out immediately.
It's I definitely think a lot of people underestimate how minor of moves you have to make to be playing the long game at the beginning. Like the long game does start at the start, but small moves are long game moves at the beginning, and big moves are long game moves when you're in the longer part of the game.
Right.
It ramps up the kind of plays you have to make. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Will.
Yep.
That show's weird. Good show, but it's weird. It's so weird. It's so goddamn weird.
Yeah. I love it, but yeah, I agree. It's
maybe that's my toxic trait. I look at these challenges as like, oh, I would have done that differently, even though I'd be like, man, that swim would have killed me. I like to think I'm a decent swimmer, but at the same time, like what they were doing, I'm like, man, I would have been dead. I would have been like Rupert and been like laying on the fucking wood planks and be like, all right, I'm taking a nap here. I'm done. I did my part. I put the plate in the chest.
All right, well, let's get your thoughts and predictions, your favorite players so far. Kind of touched on that already, but kind of thoughts and predictions going forward to the next group of episodes, which will be episodes 3 and 4.
Even though we're talking about them in this episode, I told Jake before the podcast, my biggest character flaw when watching Survivors, I can't remember anyone's name. The leader of the Morgan tribe,
Andrew.
Andrew is in such a safe spot right now. I don't think he has any chance of being voted off. Osten is either going to turn things around or he will be voted off next. Sandra and Rupert are going to continue to dominate. Those are my predictions.
Yep.
I think similarly. I think Andrew's probably, in terms of in the Morgan tribe, is the safest. I think Ryan on the Morgan tribe as well is safe as can be.
Right.
Because those are those two have just proven to be the best workhorses you got.
Mm-hmm.
And also they just are in such a position of power. Like nobody's gonna be looking to like dethrone them anytime soon. I think they're just everybody in that tribe is just in such a state of survival mode. They're just gonna go with the flow as long as it means they don't get voted. So
Right.
I think that's just all it's gonna be. For the Drake tribe, I see Rupert still being the camp, MVP. But I do feel like I think Sean and Burton, I think those are their names. But
Yeah.
I think it's gonna get to a point where they're gonna show that they're gonna like start butting heads in some way. They're like a good duo right now, but I feel like at some point like that duo is gonna kind of like start causing some issues in the tribe because they hinted at it in the first episode, but
Mhm.
because they've been winning and winning covers everything up, people are gonna overlook it. I feel like maybe one of these episodes they're gonna take a L, and you're gonna watch a lot of that duo like implode. But I don't know, I think Drake might go on I think Drake's gonna get another dub in one of these episodes. I think they're gonna keep the winning streak going. Probably like episode 4, they're gonna take their first L in something and probably have their tribe vote. I don't know that one guy, that little scrawny fuck, John.
Jonny Fairplay.
Yeah, that John seems like such a weasel. This dude, he kind of funny, but like he seems like such of the weasel type that he's gonna get so annoying that I feel like us watching, we're gonna be sitting here like, why the fuck is he still here? And he's somehow gonna make it like one of the farthest out of everybody. Like he just got that personality. He's such a weasel. He's gonna end up towards the end, and we're all gonna be sitting here like, how did we let this happen?
I mean, he's literally going around calling himself Jonny Fairplay.
Yeah, like I'm like I know that, but like he seems like such a weasel.
Right.
And
Well,
the
I agree with
weasel's gonna
that.
go very far, and it's gonna be so irritating. As much as I'm hoping for Rupert to pull a victory, I feel like somehow John's gonna screw him over, and I'm just gonna hate the show from there on out. I'm just letting you know. If my boy Rupert gets fucking cheated out of a victory, or he gets scammed and voted off early, I'm gonna be very upset. I'm still gonna watch the show because I'm gonna keep to my word. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be very grumpy. But I
I'm
don't
very
trust John. I think John's a weasel. I know anybody who goes around calling himself Jonny Fairplay is not playing fair, but he's a weasel. I know a weasel when I can see one.
Oh, I'm very interested to see what you guys think moving forward. It's going to be interesting. But yeah, any other thoughts before we head off for the first group of episodes here? All right. Well, yeah, we will be back next week or whenever we can get around to episodes 3 and 4. We will see you guys next time on the Tribe of Nerds.